Hi guys, my name is Peggy from The Witch's Garden, which is a little bit optimistic because I don't actually have a garden yet. So I thought you guys might want to come along on my journey of trying to grow a cut flower garden here in Japan. So I live in Kanagawa prefecture in Japan, which is the southerly neighbour to Tokyo prefecture, which is USDA Zone 9A, I think it's 9A. Which means we get really mild winters. I think we had a couple of days of snow last year. The temperatures really get below 0 degrees Celsius. But we also have rainy season, which we're just about to come into, which is followed by really hot summers. We usually sit between 35 and 40 degrees Celsius. It's really hot. And then September brings in typhoon season. Yay. So being from Scotland myself, these aren't really weather conditions that I'm used to, but that's what we've got to deal with. We moved here, we built this house and moved into here last February, and I have spent the last year trying to get the garden here in order, but like most new builds in Japan, to call it a garden is a bit of a stretch. It is minuscule by standards of home. And I tried to squeeze a lot into a small space, but I'll give you a bit of a tour so you can see what I've done here. So this is the garden. We've got a little decking area, and on here I have some apples and pears. I've got some eucalyptus. My bleeding hearts are just going off, as is my kodamari. These are some Japanese hydrangeas. I've got a tree peony, which I'm really excited about coming through there. But mostly I have tried to plant this to cover the fact that we live right next door to a pretty big tennis court. So you are going to hear the sound of tennis balls through these videos, I'm sure. Although it's quite quiet today. Then down here I have my climbing roses, which have just finished blooming. I've got my kangaroo paw, we've got a lilac, we've got some strawberries that are looking a bit sad, magnolia tree, I've got some pomegranates that I'm trying to get going. I've got some blackberry here, which are looking really good. I'm pretty chuffed with those. Got some blackberry pie coming. Then we've got some tree berries, which I've never really heard of before, but apparently they're kind of like a raspberry. Let's wait and see. It's windy. I've got more climbing roses at the back there, some clematis, my sakura, my sweet pea are doing well, and then this is the kids' flower bit. This is a hydrangea. We've got some grasses in here, some lemon balm to try and keep the mosquitoes at bay, and we've got lemongrass over here. But basically this is stuff that they can pull at and pull. It's just looking a bit droopy, it needs some water. To pull at and pull and play around with, make perfumes and things. So you can see they're doing their little science experiments out here. So this is their little area. I've got stuff for them to balance on. This is their water table and their little stone pit. They've got some lavender and eucalyptus and thyme and nice smelly things in there for them to pull at. We actually had a snake come out of here the other day, which was very exciting. We were all a bit excited about that. I'm not excited that it might be eating my toads though. And then down the other side, family home, random shoe. Oh, there's always a random shoe. We've got some more strawberries coming in here. This is down. I've actually planted some gladiola here, which I couldn't figure out where to put in the garden plan for the allotment, so I've decided to put them in there. I do also have some crocosmia here, but they're not coming up. I do have some little pears. Can you see my little pears? Here they come. They all got knocked off last year in a storm, so I'm hoping that won't happen again this year. I have a pretty healthy herb garden coming on here. We've got rosemary, we've got more lemon balm, we've got sage, we've got peppermint, we've got lemon mint, lots of stuff going on in there, thyme as well. Here is my very sad garden. I'm having an issue with woodlouse, actually, dangomushi in Japan, that keep eating all of my tiny little shoots before they get very far. This is some beetroot and some golden beetroot. We've got basil and coriander, some lettuces. We've got some sweet corn, which the kids are very happy about. In here, I tried to grow some butternut squash, which I had in last year as well, but the dangomushi woodlouse have eaten all of those, so I'm going to try and pot up some gourds and grow them in pots first and then move them out here and see if I can get going better there, and then we'll at least have some cute little decorations for Halloween. These are my tomato plants, which are doing well and starting to put out tomatoes already. And this is my oldest daughter's project for the summer. She has decided to grow her own peanuts. And then down here we have our little Japanese garden. We've got lots of different maple trees, got some ferns. This is my attempt at cloud pruning. Mario, eat your heart out. And then here I have made a little pond. Pond is probably a bit too fancy a word for this, with my Medaka swimming around. This is to try and get more frogs and lizards into the garden to eat the woodlouse. And it worked. We put this in on a Friday, and on the Monday I counted 3 lizards in the garden running around this wall, so here's hoping that they can help keep things at bay. The kids also love playing here. We've got lots of sticks that they're dipping in little buckets. Poor Medaka are probably traumatised. And then I've got some yuzu growing at the end here as well. A yuzu is a Japanese lemon lime type thing. But as you can see, this is tiny. It's squeezed in amongst the air conditioner and the tennis court. I think the widest part is maybe 1 metre, and then it comes down to 70 centimetres here. So, I mean, we're working in a very small space. I'm trying to get as much in as I can. So as you can see, I've tried to get as much as I can into this garden, and I'm pretty chuffed with how it's looking so far. But this is a family garden. I want the kids to run around and play in it and pull the flowers and me not get mad at them for pulling the flowers. So I have got myself an allotment, which I'm really excited about. Again, it's a Japanese allotment, so it is pretty small. But it's going to be a place for me to try and learn to grow cut flowers to bring into the house. And be able to play around with and do lots of arranging with. So we found out about these plots way back in April. A friend has one and she said we should get one too. And I thought, hey, that's a good idea. So they only come up for grabs once a year, which was in May. So we called up the city office in May and we managed to get one of the only 2 plots that were available, so I was pretty lucky there. Lucky we actually sat on the phone counting down until 9 AM so that we could hit the buttons at the same time and try and get through, which we did. And we were told that we could get onto the plot on the 1st of June because, like all things Japanese, they love a bit of red tape. So we have had lots of forms to fill in and lots of bureaucratic stuff, and it means that we're not getting into the garden until the beginning of June, which is so far through the growing season. I am not entirely sure what we're going to be able to do this year, but I'm desperate to get some seeds in the ground. I have started though. I have put up a little seed protection pod thing. Any idea? Okay. Technically I didn't need to start the seeds. We are far enough through the season that I could have put everything in the ground. It's certainly warm enough. But I did it for a couple of reasons. One, I was going insane. I had nothing to do. I knew that I was going to be getting into the garden. I just wanted to get started as soon as I could, so I did. I wanted to get some seeds started. But also it's a small garden, so I don't just want to be putting lots of seeds in the ground and not being sure what's going to come up, what's going to germinate, what's not. I want to use my space as well as I can, so I have made a little garden plan that tells me exactly how many of each plant I need to put in, I need to get growing, and I wanted to really make sure that the plants that I put in are going to be successful plants. So I'm going to start them off here, get them to a certain size, and then put them into the garden when I know that they're going to thrive and be healthy and actually produce flowers for me, so I don't end up with any dead space. Also, with rainy season coming, there's some stuff I'm going to direct sow, but the rainy season is intense and a lot of things would just get washed away. So even though I'm getting into the garden in June, I'm not I'm going to have to fight the urge to just put everything in as quickly as I can, because a lot of it would just get washed away. So again, I'm starting here, making sure the plants are well established, have a good root system before I try and put them out. But I will show you my garden plan, and yeah, I'm going to try and do a lot, and I know it's going to be too much, but there is some maybe logic in my madness. Also a lot of, I just want lots of really pretty flowers. So here's my garden plan. It's not exactly a work of art, but it does for me. So the plot that we have at the allotment is 4 meters by 5 meters. Now, looking at what most people have done, they've kind of gone the short way and have 4 meter rows, but I've decided to switch up and go this way. So I am going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meter long beds. They're slightly different sizes. This first 3 are 90 centimeters, and this last one is 70 centimeters, simply because that's all the room I've got. And I've given myself a very narrow 20 centimeter strip to get in there, which isn't going to be particularly pleasant, but we're working with a small space, so I just have to, yeah, deal with it. So here I have done all my different spacings for what I'm planting out. Here I've got all of my different sunflower types. This is where I've got my dahlia going in, then my verbascum, my delphinium if they actually germinate. These are all going to be different types of poppy that I want to put in. Then here I've got different types of cosmos and my zinnia going in there. These are all the smaller space plants. I've got these placed at 20 centimeters, these little dots. That's things like my echinacea, if it germinates, my nigella, my calendula, my verbena is going in there. And then, what are you? Oh, you're my 15 centimeter spacing plants. So I've got in here my asters, some bunny tails, some flying hedgehogs, although they haven't germinated either. And little things like that. And then in this final row, this is, I'm thinking of making up nice bouquets and things just to have around the house. So this is kind of my filler stuff. So I've got some Persian cornflower going in here, some ami, this is where my amaranthus is going to go, my achillea, some Daucus dara, more achillea, and my ponytails will be in here. Some of this stuff I've chosen as filler, and some I have chosen because I want to be able to dry it. So stuff like my ponytails and the flying hedgehogs and the kind of more of my grassy stuff will dry really nice. And a lot of my poppies, although they don't hold very well in bouquets and stuff, they will dry with really nice seed pods. So I'm excited to see what I get from that. So as you can see, I've squished it a lot. I know it's going to be too much, I think. But I mean, it's all about trial and error this year. See what grows, what doesn't, what likes the spacing, and what is gasping for more air. But this is the plan that we're going with. So this is what I've used to decide how many of each plants that I want. So you can see for my sunflower, I'm doing 6 of each different type of sunflower that I've got, and then I've kind of got 3 extra for the ones that I really want, that I really like. So I'm going to grow 1 extra of each plant basically. The 15 centimeter spacing, my 20 centimeter spacing here, and then 30 meter spacing, centimeter spacing for all of the other ones. So I'm kind of doing 5 of some plants, the 20 centimeter spacing. I've got 5 in each row for my 15 centimeter spacings. I have 7 in each row. So that is how I figured out how many plants I actually need to grow. I do have a lot of spare, which will probably end up in my garden. I don't know where, but I'll try and squeeze them in somewhere because I can't bring myself to throw away plants. But this is what we're trying to go with. And this is the ideal. Let's see how it goes. So because I do want to use this as a learning experience, I have been quite strict with myself about keeping notes of everything that I'm doing. So I have my little notebook, normal notebook. And this has a list of everything that I am growing. So here I've got the sunflower page, I've got in some velvet queens, some evening sun, copper queen, valentine, pro-cut plum, and I do also have some teddy bear that I'm about to plant up today. So I've got a note of when I planted them, how many seeds I put in, what tray I used. Did I use a 25 pod tray or the 72s, or you know, how big did I put them in, when did I pot them on, when did I pot them out, how many of seeds did I plant and how many did I germinate. So just a really clear record for myself of what I did this year, so I can figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. and I can plan better next year, hopefully. Because we are so late in the season, I'm really not sure what I'm going to be able to get. I'm late in starting pretty much everything. I don't think I'm actually going to get any flowers until maybe September time, and like I say, September is typhoon season here, so I really don't know what's going to happen. A lot of things I had to scrap. I had bought some snapdragon seeds, which technically according to the seed packet I could put in the ground now and they would maybe come up, but they don't like the heat, and it goes from about the 20 degrees we're sitting at today to about 30 degrees very quickly here. So I think they would just come and immediately die. So I have reluctantly put them back in my seed box for next year, and I'll try them next year instead. Obviously things like ranunculus, daffodils, I'm way past all of that. So something to look forward to next year. Maybe try and get planted out. I might plant a lot of them out in the autumn to come through for early spring, and then plant out a second set in spring. But that's me getting way ahead of myself. Let's see what I can actually get to grow this summer.